Hey, everybody, we're live.
Boom, 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 boom.
Okay, this is stupid. Uh, don't care. Ooh, this one might be good. Do. Yep, we're gonna go with this. It doesn't look too bad. Of course, in standard fashion, I'm not super vetting it. I just kind of glanced at it. Went, yeah, why not?
Okay.
Uh, so this is for the bank. Yeah.
Bank, bank.
Uh, oh, can you dig it? That was a good one.
Can you dig it?
Okay, I got one for. Do we have one for the first episode? Yes, you do. So for the bank, I got. Can you dig it? And I'm gonna go check speed pipe. I'm pretty certain we don't have anything currently. Hey, oh, that's you. Says happy filling anniversary. Like somebody said, oh, it's just Joe. All right, no speak pipes. I did open the email. Did I close the email? I absolutely closed the email. I did sign up for. Okay, so I never got a chance to look for that. Go to that Spotify masterclass because, of course, of all the
Oh yeah, I
Thursdays,
completely
I'm just
forgot
sitting
about
here
it.
at my yeah. But of all the Thursdays, I'm just sitting here at my desk, working on things I could do. That Thursday went nuts.
Mm.
There, I do have a link to watch the video. But Patreon actually hit us up, or in general, hit people up, and there's gonna be a new style of Patreon launching. And so I said, yeah, sign us up for looking at it. You can sell digital stuff, like have a shop, which I don't know if we'll do that. We've talked about 3D printing some coins and other stuff, and we'll fit. There'll always be a chance we'll do something. Uh, I had to change my light before we start recording. But it did say better ways to engage directly with your audience, uh, and that's what like that's what we're down. We're down for that. Yeah, it's much better. All right, and you know what? That's what I'm nerding out about. Let me put that in one of Let's see. Daddy, tell me a story. All right, I'll put it in the bank. Shoot, that's messed up.
Okay.
Can you dig it? You can't shoot. You're Captain Blanks now, aren't you?
Um,
You
what?
should be. Yeah, should be.
I don't get it.
After your last baby, you didn't get the snipper Rooney.
Oh no.
Uh, well, I stand by. You should be. We are we. I know your wife's still hoping for a little Josephina Ard.
No. So she had
Not now. We gotta start the show now.
okay.
I'll put it under story time. Yeah. There. You can talk about tonight even. All right.
Okay.
Putting the marker in. All right, Joe. You got the coin? No,
I do
Joe.
have a
Last week
coin.
you were supposed to 3D print some coin. No, I've got the real coin.
I have
I
a
came
coin.
prepared. I
Oh
came
yeah?
prepared. I got
You
the big coin.
you want to know what
Big
coin I've got?
Yeah, I do.
Boom.
What is that? Oh, a little
Chancy.
chancy coin. You didn't 3D print nothing except
No,
migraines, but
but
we'll talk about that in a second.
this is from a starter deck of Pokemon cards that I got as a teenager. The first starter deck of Pokemon cards I ever got.
Joe's been gone a week and forgets how the show works. It's time to flip the coin. Call it.
Heads. For hot gravy.
Hot gravy. Well, it came up tails. Sorry, hot gravy. We're going with smells like toast.
Get ready to laugh out loud with Wise and Nerdy, the show hosted by two hilarious dads who are bringing their unique blend of wisdom and nerdiness to the airwaves. From sharing hilarious anecdotes about their own experience to giving advice on navigating the ups and downs of life, these two dads have got you covered. That's not all. They're also obsessed with all things nerdy, from comic books and sci-fi movies to video and board games. So whether you're a fellow dad, a pop culture fanatic, or just in need of a good laugh, tune into Wise and Nerdy. Join in the fun.
That is kind of a really long intro, but I dig the music so much. And honestly, if you've never heard the show before and you hear that, you know what you're getting into. Well, what's the phrase I like to use? I use it on something.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
No. Oh, no, it's me and Dennis. I was thinking of somebody else cool. Sorry, Joe. So, Joe, how's it going, man?
It's going good. It's going really good.
Yeah, last week, Joe messaged me. He's like, "Hey, got a migraine. Can't make it." And I'm like, Psh, whatever, unprofessional dad.
Whatever.
If this was the mom show, they would show up every time. I'm just saying. I'd just say no. So we will probably. I think we're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the show. But right now, we're going to start with the question of the week, and it is: what is your favorite cult classic movie?
Oh man, do you want to go first? Or do you want me to?
I shall let you go first.
Okay, my favorite cult classic movie has got to be Big Trouble in Little China.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Fantastic movie. Gotta love me some Pork Chop Express. Oh man, with Kurt Russell, and just it's so funny, and like I don't know, it has such a good vibe to it to me. I love it. I watch it probably about once a year.
And again, in standard Charles fashion, if you're catching the Patreon pre-show, some of that came up earlier. One, Joe, look at our microphone. Look how beautiful this is. Right? I got a nice little foam filter, and it makes me sound better, and it keeps the out, whatever semblance, whatever that is. So I just caught a glimpse of myself on the camera, and I got all enamored by myself. So, but Joe, I totally forgot we were doing this question and that this was your answer, because we did prep this a couple weeks ago when we were recording or doing our live show, and I'd say all that to say I saw on TikTok the because it's I don't know what are they called, ninja samurai. It's the three bad guys, right?
The three elemental guys. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There's almost always somebody cosplaying as them at Dragon Con, and they're high end,
storms. That's what they're called.
That's okay. Three storms.
The three storms.
And I'll be honest, I don't remember which storm this was, but he took the clip from the movie and had a split screen, right? So the clip at the top was the storm doing that special, all the moves when they first landed, and the clip at the bottom was the actual actor on his own TikTok doing it, and he was smooth as butter. Did he did it all. I'm like,
had it all down still.
So good. And I would have sent that to you if I remembered that you loved this movie. I've seen it a few times. All of my kids have definitely seen it. My wife loves this movie. And I think, oddly enough, because it doesn't seem to fit in her style of movie going and watching, especially as a kid, which is when this would have come out for us. But when do you think, because I know we could Google it, but Big Trouble in Little China, was that late 80s, early 90s?
Mid 80s, 86-ish, I think. I'm pretty sure 86, because that's the year I was born. I'm pretty sure that's when it came out.
Okay. Arrogant. Trying to be all young and stuff on the show when I was born. I'm only 10 years younger than you, Charles. I don't care. I'm going to live forever, Joe. Why do you got to be like that? 86 was
just such a good year. Big Trouble in Little China came out. The Legend of Zelda
the worst cigars ever. Horrible year for naming kids. They all got bland white boy names. I'm just saying it wasn't as good as Joe tries to make it out to be. Thank you, Mike, for jumping in. So, along the same kind of lines, now Big Trouble in Little China is a comedy, but it's very out there, right? Sci-fi, over the top, cheesiness to it, but I think Big Trouble in Little China did a lot of that. Some of it unintentional. I think they tried to take something serious that just it holds up as comedy, but not as serious. But a lot of things obviously were supposed to be funny. This one is a serious, like it's a legit made for sci-fi. We took ourselves seriously when we made this movie, but it was made, I want to say in the late 70s. Think Flash Gordon, not the one with the E, the A, Flash Gordon. And this yeah. But it was that late 70s, early 80s, big hair and just the gaudiness that was that era, right? Krull, Krull, is kind of along those lines. It's a sci-fi movie. It's way out there. It's fantasy sci-fi, and the Krull is a blade. It's a 5-edged blade that you hold in the middle, and you kind of feel like a frisbee, and you kind of catch it like a boomerang, and you try not to cut your own hand off. And I'm underselling it. So I'm telling you, every time I've told somebody about this, I went, hey, there's more to it. There's a Cyclops that can see the future. There's a shape-shifting kid, or no, not kid. There's a shape-shifter in it that turns into a puppy for a kid. There's a moving castle that, excuse me, the evil overlord Skeletor Vader. I don't know, Darth Skeletor. I don't know who lives in this castle, but it's it moves at daylight every time and shows up. Yeah, it's not on a streaming service. I've had to buy it on Blu-ray. Just putting that in the notes. It's I'm sure it has to be a rights thing for streaming, but I'm telling you, I can't describe this movie other than every time I've gotten to this point in the conversation. You're not the Alpha Nerd. What are you doing changing your title and your nickname, sir? No.
It's been like that since we started the call, and you're just now noticing.
No. All right. I'm going to pick a movie from my birth that my daddy made me see because it was my birth year. No, I watched something of value, and you're the Alpha. I hate you so much. So every time I get to this point in the conversation, I'm like, okay, look, just give me 2 hours. Come sit down. Let's watch it. And I have it on Blu-ray or DVD or something. I have it on a medium that I can pop into a machine and watch it right now. And every time I've done that with somebody, whatever it is, hour and a half, 2 hours later, they're like, holy crap, I get it. Good movie. It holds up. Fantastic film. Yeah, you can't really describe it. It's so hard to put into words. So that is definitely a cult classic. And I'm going to assume, since you're not jumping in, you've never seen this film.
Nope. Have never seen this.
You need to watch it. But yeah, you know what, Joe? You might find it at your public library. Some public library systems will rent movies out. I don't know what they do nowadays. I haven't had the opportunity to go to my library. I used to go all the time. For years when my kids were little, we'd go over there every week. And at that time they were you could check out DVDs and computer games and some other stuff. It was really progressive. Then before we stopped going, you could get a digital checkout of some books and whatnot, which I didn't do much with. So I don't know, maybe now you could go there and there's a digital, well, it's not streaming. Never mind. All right. Just find it, Alpha Nerd. If you're the Alpha Nerd, go find it. Get on Amazon and buy it.
Apparently, it afterwards got published as a Marvel Comics.
I did not know.
Yeah. A comic book adaptation was created after the fact. And yeah, okay. Neat.
I'm telling you, Netflix or Marvel or anyone that's worth their salt. Man, I'd even watch the Lionsgate version of this, but it'd be a much darker version than what we got. Whereas like Netflix might be a lighter version of what we got originally. This is due for a reboot. This is due for a redo. One, not a ton of people have seen it. Two, with today's technology and stuff, it would look so fantastic. Because that's the only time it kind of falters is when the main protagonist is going up against the main evil villain with the Krull. And you can just kind
apparently
of tell
that weapon is called a glaive.
I'm sorry, you're correct. It is the glaive. It's been a hot minute since I watched this thing.
Well, so because I was looking at the Wikipedia page for Krull, and apparently the glaive was used by one of the characters in the movie Ready Player One. I don't
That's
think it
right.
was. I don't think it was used in the book.
That's right. It was, because I went, oh, look at that. And here's a trick, Joe. Did you not know the best way to get clicks on the internet is to say something wrong and have people correct you? I'm just like, I don't know. If anybody's listened to me for more than a minute, you know I didn't do that on purpose, but I'm gonna pretend like I did. So you can email us WNNshow at.
You know what?
Gmail.
I've got a question for people. Okay.
What?
You ready? What is your favorite fantasy or sci-fi weapon? Like, I want an iconic weapon. I don't want like some generic, person's sword or whatever. I want something like the glaive. I'll even let you go with a lightsaber if you want, even though everybody and their mother in the Star Wars universe has a lightsaber. It's a cool weapon. I get it. But what's your favorite fantasy or sci-fi weapon, and why? What makes it unique?
Gotcha.
I want to hear that. And where can they send that in? They can send it in to.
Well, of course, once we recorded on another episode, they can tag it on Spotify. You get our podcast through Spotify. You can answer the question there, and we read that on the show when it comes through. Or, of course, email us wnnShow@gmail.com.
Or if you don't like sending in emails, you can go to wiseandnerdy.com/calldad, and you can send us a speak pipe.
It's the question of the week.
Mike, come on. I know, buddy. I know. Are you smelling toast again? It's okay. We got you, buddy.
Roll that dice.
There you go, Mike. You're back on your game, buddy.
All right. We have number 3.
Oh, shibby. I still didn't flip over to where Mike's stuff is. Hey, you said this one.
Call your daddy. Leave a voicemail. wiseandnerdy.com/calldad.
I have not uploaded his newest one. So sorry. This is on me, Mike, but here we go.
Help me, daddy.
So that's number 3. Let daddy decide. And we are talking about we just mentioned, if you listen on Spotify, we've got some of our previous questions. So what us daddies, we're your daddies. You know this. We may not be your father, but we're your daddies. We're going to decide if these are valid questions, just like you would with any child, right? You're like, hey, kid, what do you think? And then when your child spouts off something stupid, Joe, what do?
You mock them relentlessly.
Yeah, mock them relentlessly, because how else are they going to learn? All right, Ray. You ready to get that salt on, Joe?
Are you really a dad if you've never mocked your kids?
Are you really a dad if you went, well, they'll figure it out if they get shocked. All right. No, just me? Okay. So this one was from episode Leadership, the Gideon Principle, and Nerdy Delights. Oh, it's a nerdy adventure. If you could bring back any TV show for another season, which one would it be? And Varen says Jericho.
Ooh, I've heard good things about Jericho, but I've never actually seen it.
I'm going to say I saw a good portion of it. I cannot tell you I've watched the whole thing. I do know I've seen some of it, and maybe it's a time I watched it. I don't know, but there were I don't know. I kind of remember being middle of the road. Like, and for me, middle of the road means there were some moments like, man, that was really cool, or I'm into this part. And then there's a lot of moments going, it just broke the show for me, or I didn't care for it, or whatever else. So that's what for me middle of the road is. But are you looking up the synopsis?
Well, I was also looking up where to stream it. So apparently it is on Paramount Plus. So if we wanted to give it a try, because you and I both have Paramount Plus, so maybe
I don't know who Varen is. I'm not trying that show just because they wrote it. Thank you for writing in, but
I've heard other people say that it was good. So apparently it's a post-apocalyptic setting. It's Jericho, Kansas, in the aftermath of a nuclear attack on 23 major cities in the U.S.
Yeah,
is the general setting.
Yes, so that's what I said. Ish. When you say post-apocalyptic, I think of stuff like Fallout, or it's been done for a while. I think it's the first episode. You see the mushroom clouds go off, so it's like only post-apocalypse by 5 minutes. So, but it is
Yeah.
interesting. It
Well,
does
that's
do
still technically
some-
post. It's
That
after.
is true. That is true. Um, you know what? Take it on, because if I have some time, I might stream some of the episodes. Um, but I do know we talked about this. I think when we talked about this question, that I suffered from what would happen up until the era of streaming media, where Netflix is buying shows to either continue them or give them one last season or whatever. It went and left on a cliffhanger, I believe, and then just got canceled.
Well, and it ended in 2008. So I wonder if it was a victim of the writer's strike that happened.
Yeah. Oh, that hurt a
'Cause
lot. It's just,
yeah, because the writer's strike was 2007 to early 2008, late 2007 to early 2008. So
yeah.
they may have already shot everything for that last season, and then it got canceled because of the writer's strike.
Right. And
Could
fortunately,
have been.
in today's day and age, there's another writer strike going on as we record this.
There is.
And but I was gonna say, fortunately, well, I'm not getting in the middle of it. I'm sure they do need more rights as far as getting paid. It's one way or the other, but it's not going to kill a show, right? Yeah, some shows shut down, but it's in the media. It's the age of streaming. Everything streams, right? If NBC made a show, it's on Hulu and Peacock. If ABC made a show, it's on Hulu. If and possibly on Disney Plus, right? So on and so forth. So in the previous days where everything was on ratings and you had to do week to week and you had to get those numbers, a writer strike did kill a number of shows because they got canceled and never came back because, how we get the interest again. Well,
Or ruined shows like Heroes.
Oh yeah, I was going to bring up Heroes. Yeah, Heroes died. Heroes.
It didn't.
The very
didn't
last
die
season of Heroes.
technically,
True. Well, I meant story wise,
but the story was like
they
dropped story plot lines left and right between the writer's strike happening. So they were like, "Oh, let's write it ourselves," and then the writers came back and they're like, "Okay, we're getting rid of all the
all of that." Said. Yeah,
that's dumb. And so
it did not take the fans into account. I will say, I'll come back to my point in a second, but I will say about Heroes, the TV movie they did, what would be the last season, but it's like 2 hours or 3 hours, whatever it was decent. It had to deal with time travel and resetting some things. So it helped give us that taste again of what it could have been without getting us too hungry, because they weren't going to go forward, and without really trashing everything that came before. I enjoyed it. The very last one they did.
I mean, Heroes peaked in season 1.
Yeah, and it didn't have to, but it was a writer strike thing. So coming back to what I was saying, I don't believe this writer strike will destroy shows because we're in the era of everything streams. So what's the best way to do things other than, hey, guess what? We're back, and you just shorten the show right in the middle of the season, and then now we're back, and here's another season, and people can get on whatever app is the parent app and catch up and binge watch. Right, it doesn't rely necessarily on we have to get 15 million views on a Thursday night at 8 p.m. Otherwise, we're canceling the show. Right, it can go for less. Is all I'm saying. Warrior. Dang it, what's it called? I think it's called Warrior on HBO Max. It's a Bruce Lee written show
from just a few years back.
Warrior, yeah, it is Warrior. Well, you say it that way, sir. And yeah, it debuted a few years back, and then they did a second season pretty much immediately. My wife and I loved it. The actors in it are phenomenal. The martial arts are just the best, right? It is 100%. I looked it up because I was reading Bruce Lee all over. I'm like, no, this is how Bruce Lee used to act, and this is how he used to write things, and this is how he would do fight scenes. This got Bruce Lee written all over it. Googled it after I watched the first 2 episodes, and sure enough, Bruce Lee had originally written a bunch of scripts or a bunch of stories about this kind of thing. It's set in the early days of immigration in San Francisco, and Asians are coming over into America and how they're treated. And it takes the whole idea of Chinatown, and it goes nuts with the martial arts and the gangs, but not too nuts. I mean, my wife, I would consider as a normal person when they view shows, as I'll watch crazy stuff, but she won't. And she loves the show. At the end of season 2, we were hungry. Like, oh man, it got canceled. No more. Now, each season is self-encased. I mean, that next season builds on it, but it's not like, if it doesn't come back, you're left hanging. Each season is self-contained, so that's good. So at the end of season 2, I was like, oh, well, that was a great 2 seasons, but I'm disappointed. And that was like 2 or 3 years ago. Season
2
3.
years ago, 2021.
Season 3 is out right now. It's 2 episodes in, man. And we are eating it. I did not know. I saw no fanfare, got no advertisements on my TikTok, which I got all kind of Max advertisements when they were changing the branding. Anyway, I digress. It is, they do use language, and I think there's some random nudity every once in a while. It's not very big thing. The language is mostly the thing. But I'm telling you, if you like period pieces and if you like martial arts and you like Bruce Lee, so good. So good. All right. Another question here. So get ready to get salty. This is from TV show revivals, beat strips, fire frenzies, and Reddit royalty. A wise and nerdy adventure. This is from a very controversial listener. He says, I want Charles to be proud of standing up for Supernatural. Truly one of the, what do you want us to be proud of is the question. I want Charles to be proud of standing up for Supernatural. Truly one of the finest television series of all time. Joe needs to hush his mouth.
I never said I disliked it.
No, Devakate came out of the woodwork to spank you down, sir. Favorite kid. I'm proud of you, son.
I've watched like 11 of the 15 seasons. So it's not like I wouldn't have watched that much if I didn't enjoy it. It just I maybe eventually I'll finish it.
Devakate is a good son. That's all I'm saying. All right, this is from Cesar, and he says, this is from the episode. This is before I get the branding right. This is from we called it 0.5. It was one of the last things we did on Pokemon Go before we made this own thing and launched it. So it's called Best Advice, Dr. Stone Anime, Bad Dad Jokes, and more. And what is your bad dad joke? Cesar says, doesn't have to do with the question, but I just wanted to say that I love your show. I came for Pokemon Go. I saved for Charles and Joe. And then he puts, why can't a nose be 12 inches long?
Why can't a nose be 12
Don't even play like you don't know, Joe.
Okay. Why not?
I hate you. Because then it'd be a foot. Why? Why did both of you make me say, this is why you're adopted, Caesar. This is why you're adopted. Not by me, by Joe. I gave you up. No son of mine. No. All right.
Love it.
Roll that dice.
Alrighty then. Number 2.
Who does number 2 work for? It works for Joe.
Does number 2 work for?
Which is another movie that I'm surprised that you saw. Because it seems like,
oh yeah, Dad.
That's what it seems like. It seems like, oh yeah, Daddy.
And that seems like the thing you'd watch.
Personal story time.
My belly.
Yeah. It's just so raunchy for a Joe movie.
Oh man.
Right. But that is not the story.
Oh,
so
no.
You had a migraine last Thursday, right? And you're prone to these from time to time, right?
I am. It's true.
It's because you broke out of the animation Family Guy and you're struggling to keep a real life persona going on, and it just breaks you sometimes. But I get it.
I'm having withdrawals from seeing fighting chickens.
I love the chicken. If you haven't seen Spider-Verse, you've seen the first Spider-Verse, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen.
So you're glitching being in the non-animated universe, Peter. But that's okay.
You could have gone with Wreck-It Ralph glitching.
Although
that one wasn't necessarily painful.
I just saw Spider-Verse 2 Electric Boogaloo the other day. So that's the one I went to. Which, by the way, just for the studio recording purposes, I named this Wise and Nerdy July 6th. Back in Action, the sequel, return to doing things a second time. Totally live. So that's what's on Twitch right now, I think is what everybody's seeing. So I called you during the week and we were talking about, I don't remember what, a bunch of different things. We're talking about game night and how to do that and so on and so forth. And I checked on you, like, yeah, man, I don't know, man, I'm not feeling good. And so I was like, what's up? And Joe was like, yeah, I had to explore my secret tunnel. I'm like, what are you talking about? Why do you phrase things so weirdly?
Or
what are you talking about?
As my kids call it, having a camera shoved up your butt. Um, oh man, yeah. So I had a colonoscopy last week, and I'm we talked earlier. I was born in '86. I'm only 36 years old, and so most people don't start getting colonoscopies until they're 45, 50 years old. Um, but my family has a family history of colon cancer in their 30s. My grandpa had colon cancer in his 30s, and so did my sister. And so I knew that I'd have to start getting them early. And actually, this was my third. The first time they did find it wasn't cancer, but they found stuff that could have developed into cancer. They call them polyps that they remove. And this time they did. The second time they didn't. So anyway, but what sucks the most, but what sucks the most when it comes to a colonoscopy isn't even the procedure itself. It's drinking the solution that clears out your intestines. Like clearing out your intestines, you got to spend some time
What's
on
it
the
called,
porcelain
Joe?
throne.
What's it called?
The what? The stuff that
you have
clears
to
out.
drink.
Oh, I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, you should, because it's in the name of it's a lie. The name is a lie.
What is it called?
Go lightly is what it's called.
No, you don't.
You don't go lightly at all. We've mocked that name in the medicine world for a very long time. When I worked in the ER at the hospital, it's where I learned about it. Like, yeah, and you have to drink. You're not exaggerating. You have to drink like a gallon of it.
Yeah,
don't you?
yeah. You've got to drink what it tells you to do, and I guarantee no one actually does this, but it's like drink 8 ounces every 10 minutes. I'm like, unless I'm bringing it to the bathroom with me, I ain't drinking 8 ounces.
Because that first 8 ounces hits, and your body's like, oh, lightly is not the word, buddy. But it is cool that plastic soldier you swallowed when you were 8 finally came out. That's awesome.
But yeah, that drink is just so nasty, and it's thicker than water.
Oh, I know.
Like,
I know. Oh,
so someone the other day when I was telling them that, they're like, "No, you mix it with water, it dissolves." I'm like, "No, it's thicker than water. It's not quite syrup, but it is thicker than water, and it is just gross."
Do you want to know what one of the big things that's in it?
Sure.
It's sucrose, I think it is, which is a binding agent. And I say it's a binding agent because I remember again looking at the bottle going, wait, I recognize some of the ingredients. Went to my gum. I chew Dentine Ice. It's sugar free. It's got tons of flavor. It really does freshen your breath. Love it. Learned it. Was a paramedic. You get up at 3 a.m. and you're like I'm going to treat Joe for his migraine. Going, hey Joe, and it, the smell just sets the migraine off worse. So started chewing Dentine Ice. Same chemical is in it. It might be xanthine. It might be sorbitol. I think it's sorbitol is what I'm thinking of, not sucrose. It's sorbitol. But it's, so in little bits, it keeps gum together. It's great. And gallon size, it makes you poop your brains out.
Yeah, it's just, it's not, it's gross. It's like, I
watch out for the butt slide.
Out of all of it, that is the worst part. Luckily though, when I got actually on the way to the hospital to have the procedure, they called me and were like, hey, we're running early, which, that never happens at a hospital, right? When you go to see a doctor. But they're like, we're running early if you can get there. I'm like, well, we'll get there when we get there because we're already on our way. And so the reception for the check-in took like half an hour. But once we actually got down to where the nurses were, where we go to the procedure, they were like, hey, fill this out and then go. You're going in because they're waiting on you. I'm like, oh,
we're putting you in, kid. Get suited up.
And so it was super fast and whatnot. And they're like,
don't you leave $20 on the dresser. I'm sorry.
And I remember coming out of it. I had I don't remember the dream now, but I remember telling them, I had a dream about Tears of the Kingdom while I was under.
Oh
And
yeah, because that game feels like a colonoscopy too
yep.
sometimes.
Yeah, right. No. Yeah, that's what the Korok studio. So yeah, so but the moral of the story though is this is it, as much as the procedure, well, drinking the stuff really sucks. Um, colon cancer is one of the most easily preventable cancers out there, and so I caution people to be proactive and to know their family history when it comes to it because it I mean I would rather drink that stuff than get cancer. So
That's one good daddy.
I mean, I get it. I get it. If you or a loved one have suffered from mesothelioma or a colonoscopy,
Donate to your daddy. Patreon.com/wise-nerdy.
that's not the best I did, but it works so well. Oh, roll that dice, man. Roll the dice.
Oh man. Oh. Number 5.
Oh, we need this. We need this. No, everybody, help us out. Love us a little bit. But it is
Time for a commercial break.
so let me get over to oh, you know what? We just did the donates. So that was good. Where's call? I meant to hit call your daddy. Because that was so I was doing the whole if you're a loved one, if ever something call your and then he's going but I hit the wrong one. So donate to your daddy. It hit. So hopefully everybody will take the words from it. But let's play this one.
Call your daddy. Leave a voicemail. wiseandnerdy.com/call-dad.
All right, Joe. What I don't think we've done this one. So let's try this one. Turn it down and marker time. I almost forget. Time for the commercial break dance party. This is good. I know there's a drop coming. Come on, Tom. Oh,
nice.
All right, that was worth the wait. That was good. Takes a hot minute to get there. I do wish in any kind of EDM or house music that they would kind of get to the point a little bit faster. Look. But that's what a good minute into the song. But a nice little build up there. So this is Stream Beats is what all this music is from. So we very much appreciate them letting us use that music. All right, man, hit it one more time.
All righty. Number 1.
Why? Because then I just know this is not a happy. Why? It's Mike.
Is it BS?
No, it's not BS, Mike. Every time Mike is the voice, we don't get a happy ending.
Nerds.
All right. What are you nerding out about, Joe?
So this is not something that I would normally watch. I'm gonna preface it with that. So my wife and I, we decided to give a try to we were just perusing Netflix and we decided to give a try to a show called Night Agent. And
they advertised the crap out of that for a while.
Yeah, they did. And so we're watching it and we got hooked on it. And by the time we got hooked on it, then it starts laying the F-bombs. A lot. But we were already hooked on it and we're like, you know what? This once we're just gonna gonna power through it because we were hooked. It's got a real good story, but it has a lot of f bombs. um, but yeah, so it's the main character is an agent that works in the White House, and he sits at a telephone that rarely rings. But when it does, it's because a night agent or a spy is calling in because they have issues. Like this is emergency services for the spies. And so,
Time
yeah.
life operator. How can I help you?
Yeah. And so it's got a real good story, and I liked it a lot. They're to be honest, the f bombs weren't even needed in my opinion. Like sometimes
Okay,
it's
are they ever needed in your opinion?
there's sometimes when I'm like, no, yeah, I get why they used it. And that doesn't necessarily mean they're needed, but like a lot of these were pointless ones, where instead of trying to emphasize the situation, like
Yep.
you ever see the movie Antitrust?
Farfanugan, right? I have.
It's PG-13, so it lays one
That
F
that made you pause for a second. Like,
Farfanugan.
what are you doing? 'Cause that's
Um
the real F bomb, kids. Farfanugan.
no, for my kids, the F bomb is flatulence.
Uh,
Um no, and it has one F bomb, but it emphasizes the severity of the character's opinion of the other character. Like,
yeah. Yes. Okay.
and so they're when they're restricted to one, like in PG-13 movies,
Yes.
I think
Yep.
they go out of their way to make sure it counts. Whereas when they're not restricted, they become meaningless, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's going to be another. I'm gonna put that in our bank of questions. What was your favorite, PG-13 F bomb moment? Because I'm about to share one, but I have more. But anyway, I'm putting that for another show. Actually, I'll save it for the other show. But so Night Agent, you're recommending it.
Yes, if you're willing to put up with the F bombs, which I mean, in your case, I'm sure you would. But um, yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
I don't
liked the
really
story,
say it.
and apparently, it's my wife said that she read somewhere that it's already been confirmed for a second season.
All right.
So it ended well enough that it didn't necessarily need a second season. So I'm curious to see where they go with it.
Yeah, I did. They pushed it really hard, but here's the thing: when Netflix was advertising it and pushing it, the clip they showed didn't tell me anything about it. Like it's like I have no idea if I'm going to like this or not, and I've got so many other things on my list. I'll just wait. So I'm glad to hear that you liked it. I might give it a shot. Um, I'll tell you what I'm not nerding out about right now is Tears of the Kingdom, man. They broke the secret tunnel. Not your secret tunnel, but the one
Tears of the Kingdom
Tobias's.
broke my secret tunnel.
Yeah.
Oh,
AI,
man.
our Lord and Overlord. I was about to tell the wrong joke. Our Overlord Chat GPT is going to give a suggestion of secret tunnel as part of the message, the title for the show. Tobias's cavern. Tobias's cave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the newest update, they broke that one.
Oh, I hate it so much, man. Because
Turn
I'm
off your
not.
auto update.
I forget. But it's too late now. It's too late now. Now I want the updates in case they fix something that's broken.
So there are still a couple of glitches left.
Well, but yeah, everybody's like, "Oh, the secret way." Now, one, I don't need to dupe a whole lot of things. I'm not trying to get 1,000 of them. I'll let you. I think you're going. I know what I'm talking about. But anyway,
Okay.
hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Listen, Joda,
Linda.
Joda. You're now Joda. Hoda. Oh, that makes me Kathy Lee. I don't know if I like that. So follow the brain. I'm back on track. I promise you. Tears of the Kingdom. I don't try to spoof a lot of things, but it's like, okay, we go through some bomb plants, right? A lot of this. So I'll do those.
Those should. I don't think they broke I don't even know if it's technically a glitch. There is a way to get a bunch of those pretty easy.
Oh yeah, where you grab it from the
guy that's throwing them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to put a brief stop in here. So talk about whatever you want. I'll be right back.
All right, so um, Tears of the Kingdom has been a blast for me. I have finished the main storyline, so I do know all the storyline spoilers for everything that happens. I'm definitely not gonna spoil it here, but um, I've seen a lot of people commenting how they felt the storyline was weak compared to other um, Zelda games, and I've got to disagree. I really liked the storyline here. Um, it I I liked it in general. I really liked Tears of the Kingdom. I would be very surprised if it didn't win a Game of the Year because it was fantastic. A lot of people were going into it thinking, "Oh, this is just going to be a $70 DLC for Breath of the Wild." No, they transformed it a ton. I think I mentioned this before, but my biggest gripe about the entire thing is the way that you activate the champion abilities, the sage abilities, because in Breath of the Wild, the champion abilities were just seamless. Like you didn't have to do a whole lot. You could integrate it into your combat pretty well. Whereas the sage abilities in Tears of the Kingdom, you have to run over to whatever sage you're wanting to talk to and say, "Let's go," and click on them, and that activates the beginning of their ability. And usually they have a secondary trigger to activate them. And so I think that they could work that out a lot easier. Like for instance, the D pad down. Literally, the only thing that it's used for is for whistling. They could easily incorporate that into the champion abilities. Um, for instance, um, Riju, while holding ZR, which is the button that uses your bow, while holding ZR, if you pressed the D-pad down, it should activate her electric field. Um, for Tulin, if you're on the ground holding R, which is the ability that lets you throw stuff, if you're holding R and you press D-pad down, that should quote unquote throw the gust of wind. Um, and so just little things like that to make it easier in battle. If you've got your shield out with ZL and you press the D-pad down, it should use Yonobu, Yonobo. That it should either shoot him at the target that you're targeting, because ZL lets you lock onto a target as well as use your shield. But if you're not target locked, it should just shoot him forward. And so things like that, I mean, that would be super easy. Like he could even hop onto your shield if you wanted to, like while you're holding it down. And that I don't know. There's different things. And then for Sidon, if you were holding down, say A, and then you press the D-pad down, because A is just the generic action button. So if you're holding that down, you press D-pad down, it should activate Sidon Shield. Those simple things would make them so much more usable in combat. It would be just ridiculously better than the system that they've currently got. And I really hope that they patch that, because the community has been pretty vocal about that. It could be just way better. Anyway, hey Slim Shady, thanks for popping in and wishing us happy affiliate anniversary. Yeah, I didn't even realize this was our affiliate anniversary, which is kind of funny though that this is our anniversary, because it's also the anniversary of Pokemon Go, which is what we spun this show off of. We had the Pokemon Go podcast for um almost 7 years, and so yeah. um but yeah, Tears of the Kingdom, fantastic game, and it's been interesting to see what um Zonai creations people are making with Ultra Hand. For instance, recently it was discovered that you could rip a chunk off of a an elevator, and the chunk that you rip off has some unique characteristics in the game code, because it's supposed to be like a metal bar is what it is. But the game code, because they didn't expect anyone to get it off of there, it's ridiculously light. It doesn't conduct electricity, even though it's looks like it's supposed to be metal. And so people are making interesting like flying machines and things like that with it. And so it's been really, really interesting following the community and seeing what different Zonai creations people are coming up with. And a lot of times they're using glitches in order to facilitate it. So like uh, getting unique materials, fusing it to a weapon or a shield, and then duplicating the weapon or the shield so that they can get more of that particular item so that they can use it in their Zonai creations. It's been really, really interesting to see the creativity coming out of um, the the fan base, and I've seen just a ton of amazing builds. Um, and my kids are loving it, and I'm loving it. Um, my my kids, they for a long time, and they're not complaining about it anymore, but they were complaining about Rivali's Gale, or well, rather not having it in Tears of the Kingdom, or as they almost always call it, Ravioli's Gale instead of Rivali's Gale. Um, but yeah, yeah. In general, fantastic game. I'm curious to see what they're going to do for the DLC. I doubt this will happen, but I would love to see some DLC where you play through Zelda's story in Tears of the Kingdom. I'm trying to be intentionally vague so I don't give anything away, but I would love to see some DLC where you play through her version of the story, um, and like some side quests there. Um, I would love some DLC that explained where some of the Sheikah technology went, because the ancient technology is gone. It's just completely gone. Guardians are gone. The shrines are gone. Although the Guardians, you do see like bits and pieces of it. It's pretty clear that the um, that Pura and Robbie commandeered a whole bunch of that stuff, and that they have been experimenting with it. Even if they had just made an offhand comment, because I've seen a lot of people complaining like, "Where's all this stuff that used to be here?" Um, but yeah, and I kind of wish the towers were in the same locations as the previous towers and just had the updates from Pura. Um, but that's not exactly the case, not one to one anyway. Um, there are a few other things that I would like to see in the future, though. What I would love to see is a Zelda game set in the um in the time period where they in it in Breath of the Wild they mention it and they elaborate a little bit more in Tears of the Kingdom with an ancient hero, and he's not quite human, um but he's not quite Zonai either. Um, he looks to be some kind of a hybrid. I would love to see that as a game. I'm not sure how well received it would be by the general audience, but I think the more rabid fan base would just eat it up. Um, because it's not, even if it was a reincarnation of Link, which it could be. A lot of the different heroes are reincarnations of Link. He doesn't look like Link, and so I could see a lot of people being like, "I don't know about that." But I would love to see that turned into a game in the future, because people are like, "Where do they go from here?" Um, and I'm curious if they do. So the Mario movie was well received. I'm going to go off on a little tangent. I'm curious to see, because they've talked about possibly doing a Zelda movie, a Legend of Zelda movie. I'm curious to see what that would look like if they're gonna go for one of the different time periods, because there's technically a loose timeline between the games. Because for those that don't know, in the lore, each of the different games is, well, not every single game, but um, most of the games are a different reincarnation of Link and Zelda. And so he's called the hero of ages for a reason, because he reincarnates. And so I would love to see what they would do with a Link, with a Legend of Zelda, as long as they don't go um, with some of the sayings from the '80s cartoon. Yeah.
That saying is that the one?
No.
Sorry, that was
Excuse me, princess.
yeah. Oh
Oh,
my
yeah.
God.
But yeah.
So sorry to bail on you, sir. That was a Dragon Con call. Nothing to get excited about yet, but we had a question of something that might go down for us.
Ooh. I
But
was just waxing eloquent about Zelda in general,
well,
mostly Tears of the King.
I'm sure it was
It's
pretty
good
awesome.
stuff.
Roll that dice and make it a
Okay.
6.
It is a 6.
Bad daddy.
Yeah, yes, because I don't like ending with
Bad dad jokes.
All right. Let me preface this by saying, do you know what an Aarakocra is?
I don't think we can say it on a family-friendly show, Joe.
And
I don't think kids do not Google that.
an
Do not.
Aarakocra is a bird person in D&D. Okay. If you
Okay.
saw the D&D movie, there is an Aarakocra at the prison.
I haven't seen it yet, but I do actually look forward to seeing it.
Okay. So what do you call an Aarakocra cleric?
Okay. I know in a PG-13 movie you can only say one A-bomb. And you've already said it 3 times. So we're gonna have to put a rating on this. I don't know, Joe. It's gonna hurt me. What do you call a bird person cleric?
You
Oh, your
call it
face.
a bird of prey.
Oh, okay. I heard PREY, which made me laugh even more. So I get it. It's dumb the way you said it. I'm very disappointed in you. But the way I'm thinking about it in the Catholic Church made me laugh. So
That's what it was.
oh, he put up the hands for prayer. Yeah.
Man.
Uh,
Good stuff.
No, it's not good stuff. But it did actually kind of make me laugh. But I totally thought it was a different thing that you were talking about.
What do you love?
So
What do you love?
it's can you dig it? And we can dig it. We can dig it. Joe, you brought this one. You're talking about Young Justice. Now, let me preface what I know about Young Justice. I have seen a few of the episodes, and already I feel the internet rage. See, I see your face. I see your face. When I say a few of the episodes, I see your face. I may have only seen the first episode, and it was good. I kind of got it, but I don't know. Stop being so disappointed in me. You're not my daddy. You're their daddy. We're their daddies. You're more like I'm the drunk uncle. I don't know if that makes you the sober Karen. Anyway, Young Justice. People go insane about this thing, right? There's like 3 seasons. Everybody, I mean, it's like don't talk about anything if it's not Young Justice. I mean, there's such a Harley Davidson, Star Wars, caustic but strong fandom of the show. I don't know, man. It feels very divisive.
Oh man, it is so good. So Young Justice is kind of a more mature, slightly darker version of Teen Titans. There's still
they jump into like abandonment by parental figures and instantly. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, no, they go into some deep topics. Like there's still some humor there, not anything like Teen Titans, and especially not like Teen Titans Go. But
Teen
yeah,
Titans, by the way, was phenomenal.
Go
was okay. Go is for littler ages.
Yeah, well, yeah, they changed audiences.
Yeah, which is fair, and that's fine. But yeah,
and apparently, Teen Titans Go has better ratings in general, which that's fine. It's Teen Titans Go is not for me.
I loved it. Teen Titans Go got my kids into the world of comics, along with World's Mightiest Heroes, I think is what it's called. But it was I call it like the Tycho version of Marvel. It was so good. Anyway.
Yeah, my kids love Teen Titans Go. It's just I love Teen Titans, and so when I look at it, I'm like, this is not Teen Titans.
Well, John, we'll go ahead and tell you. Don't watch Titans on Max.
Yeah, no.
It's not what you're gonna
I
watch.
saw the previews, and that's not for me either. But Young Justice, fantastic. And so the opening episode is the sidekicks being brought to the Hall of Justice, and they think that they're finally gonna be in the Justice League. Like that's
It's like bring your kid to work day, really.
well, and kind of, yeah, because they're brought to the Hall of Justice, and then one of the sidekicks, Speedy, who is
Flash's sidekick.
no, Speedy is an archer. He's Green Arrow's sidekick.
That's right. He's
Which they
the
actually
little mouse that runs really fast from somewhere down south.
Now that's Speedy Gonzalez.
Arriba. Love him.
But no, they actually make that the general public is like, hey, that's Speedy. Oh, is that Flash's side? Like they make
they made that joke constantly. Yeah.
And so he's like, this isn't even where the Justice League meets. This is just for the public. They meet they meet up in space on the Watchtower.
Yeah, the Hall of Justice is like going to Huntsville, Alabama, and going through space camp. You still don't get anywhere near the actual NASA.
Yeah. And so what ends up happening is the sidekicks are like, well, no, this isn't what we wanted to do. We want to be heroes. We don't want to be sidekicks anymore.
We can be heroes.
And so they initially go about it without the permission of the superheroes, but then ultimately they have the permission of the heroes, and the heroes help them out a little bit, but they give them their own missions. And so it's Robin, Kid Flash, Aqualad, and then that's the main three right off the bat, and then they collect a few people, and sometimes the team changes, and there's a time skip between a couple of the seasons as well. And yeah, and they like you said, they hit on a lot more mature topics, and they cover it's a great although it was canceled and then brought back and then canceled and brought back and canceled again.
Yeah, like every season. Like the first season, they got canceled, then they did a second, and they got canceled, and they did a third. And that's it, right? Only 3 seasons?
So there's 4 seasons. The first 2 seasons were done by Cartoon Network. The 3rd season was done by DC Universe, and the 4th season was done by HBO Max.
I will say, in my personal opinion, HBO Max has had a great track record with their own animations. Right now, specifically thinking of Spawn, which is definitely not for you, but it was.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. I have actually seen the Spawn movie.
Well, you don't mind that it's violence and some demon imagery. Really, is really what it comes down to. So yeah, I think you'd be okay with Spawn. It's been probably a decade since I saw it, but yeah, I mean, so which season's your favorite season of Justice? Young Justice.
Ooh, probably season 3, Outsiders. My wife and I are currently rewatching it because we've seen it before, and so that might change after we're done rewatching it. But I think season 3 and season 4 were broken up into 2 parts when they initially aired. But it's still one continuous season. But yeah, in total, it's just shy of 100 episodes. So it's pretty good. Good stuff. Good stuff indeed.
So when you hear the thunder roll, it should make you think of Big Trouble in Young Justice. That's the show tonight, everybody. Thank you very much for coming to play it. We'll see you at Dragon Con.
Dragon Con!
Crap. Stupid thing stopped working.
Follow these nerdy dads on social media. Charles at Rock God of Podcasting. Joe at Joseph_Ard. Check out the website wiseandnerdy.com. And as always, they may not be your father, but they'll always be your daddy.
It's called a crawl.